The entire crypto market is in a very unique position because what we have in front of us right now is liquidations, right? Over $699 million in trader liquidations over the past 24 hours. Major caps like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana saw red across the board, wiping out over $618 million in longs. Nearly 275,000 traders were caught on the wrong side of the move. Now, this is very interesting because, again, right now everyone's looking at altcoins like XRP or HBAR and they're saying, well, these things suck because they are having a major push to the downside. Now, this is exaggerated with Bitcoin because when it comes to Bitcoin, Bitcoin is the driver of this market because of dominance being well over 60+%. So when Bitcoin does take a deep dive, it could be, a $5,000 drop to the downside. It is going to be exaggerated for altcoins. And this is something that I want you all to understand because although we are seeing a sell-off, it's not the end of the world. This is not the end of the bull run, and we're not seeing a bear market in front of us just yet, which means, yes, I'm still expecting all-time highs across the board for even XRP. Now, with that, we are starting to see a lot of price predictions around XRP, and it's actually coming from Bitcoin maxis, which I will talk about here in a second. But this is what XRP looks like right now currently, trading at about $2.13, and a lot of people will say, well, this is extremely upsetting, but if you actually think about it, right, you go back to the month of October or even November, and guess what? We were trading at sub 50 cents. So I don't think that XRP is in a terrible position right now. I just think that we are getting frustrated and even, a little bit impatient because we have been just trading sideways since roughly January. So it's been about 4 months, almost 5 months now. But outside of that, Bitcoin is also looking like this, where we have, a nice little push to the upside and a nice little sell-off. And everyone is starting to panic because of the liquidations and because of the price move on, Bitcoin. And also, a lot of this is tied back to James Wynn, who is round-tripping $100 million in just 1 week. And a lot of the big whales have been targeting his positions. For an example, he's been posting a lot of these positions all over X. Now, do I think that this is somebody who is just a psyop? Do I think that we are starting to see a lot of market manipulation because of this? 100%. So I think a lot of this is tied back to market manipulation. And like I said, I do think that XRP and the rest of the market is destined to have new all-time highs hit this year. Now, on top of that, let's actually talk a little bit about price predictions because a lot of people have been throwing out some price predictions for XRP. We've been hearing $5, $7, $10, $15, $20, and we've even been seeing some crazy price predictions of like $50 plus. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin maxis, their target is $8 to $10. Now, they're actually calling it a pretty conservative $8 to $10. Now, within this interview, they're also talking about, Bitcoin hitting like $250,000 or even higher. So please just be aware of that. I don't think Bitcoin goes that high, but I do think that XRP does have the potential to hit $8 to $10 pretty easily. And it does have a lot more potential outside of that. But, my price prediction for this bull run has always been $7 to $10. But check this video out. This is actually from, I believe this is from Altcoin Daily, but also Crypto RS. So check this out.
XRP has survived many cycles, never been a better landscape. Solana has survived multiple cycles. SUI has a great team, great fundamentals. Let's just take XRP. Price outlook for XRP in 2025. And let me preface by saying, well, let's just say Bitcoin has at least a 1.5 to 2x maybe left in it. Ethereum could be 3 to 4x with XRP around $2 today. 5x? $10 per coin, is that possible?
Yeah, I think so. I realistically think XRP will be between $8 to $10. And considering it's 250, so that's only a 4x. But I certainly think that's possible. I think there are people that think it could go higher than that. But yeah, I think that's actually pretty conservative, $8 to $10. I think, and they have, once they get their ETFs, and there'll be many, I think that's going to help bring a lot more money into the space. So yeah, I think $8 to $10 is conservative estimate for a top.
So yeah, listen, I think 8 to 10 is conservative, but I do think that it does go higher. We'll have to wait and see, right? We really kind of just gauge market emotions and the reactions to the price action. But I do think that this is something that, once we start to see XRP really hit a new all-time high, it really kind of just blows the lid off the thing, right? We don't know how high XRP is going to go because it's been, since 2017, 2018 that we've really kind of witnessed a new all-time high for XRP. So this is something that will be historic. It will be everywhere. And you got to think about it like this, right? Like, look at all of the stuff that's been happening around XRP in just the last couple weeks. Okay. I say this because a lot of people overlook fundamentals simply because of price action. Like, for example, if I told you in the last month, we witnessed so many big announcements around XRP, you would not believe me because this is what the price action looks like. Or if I said, guess what? Let's go back to, we'll go back to this view and we'll just go back to like roughly the beginning of the year. Okay. So I want to show you guys this because during this time, we have witnessed so many huge announcements, not just around XRP, but around crypto itself, but you would not know that because of the price action. This is why I've always stated, fundamentals don't mean price action, but what they do build behind the scenes is pressure, right? All of these announcements will lead to positive price action because they're all catalysts at the end of the day. Now, as we are thinking about that, okay, let's go over here to the Masari Q1 XRP Ledger report. Key update, Ripple acquires global prime broker Hidden Road, positioning XRP Ledger for institutional adoption and expanded DeFi capabilities. Okay, quarter-over-quarter metrics. Daily active addresses up over 142%. Average daily clock volume up 74%. RLUSD market cap on XRP Ledger up 304%. We are witnessing a lot of adoption around the network. So although price action is down, everything else is up. Fundamentals, metrics, this is something that I think everyone should focus on. And the reason why is because all of this is pressure, and it's positive pressure. And it's something that I think everyone should be aware of, because even going back to all of this, previous price action, like for an example, let's go back to the candlesticks, right? During this entire time period from, 2022 all the way up to this big move in the end of 2024 that everyone is, now talking about, during that entire time leading into this push, what were we witnessing around a lot of these projects, including, of course, HBAR? Positive developments, major announcements. That's why I say that they're very important, even though you don't think they are, because of price action. They lead to positive price action. Now, on top of the ETFs, I do want to talk a little bit more about companies jumping on the XRP train. For an example, we have here China's AI company, Wenbis International Limited, announces up to $300 million financing plan to establish an XRP strategic reserve supporting global payment solutions. XRP is now on center stage. It is no longer just an overlooked altcoin. Companies are now tapping into XRP for strategic reserves. Now, on top of that, we also have latest. Hyperscale Data plans to buy up to $10 million in XRP by the end of 2025 to expand crypto-based financial services via its Alt Capital Group subsidiary. So now we have two major companies buying up XRP. But also don't forget Vivo Power, which is a NASDAQ-listed company. It says it's raising $121 million to launch an XRP-focused treasury strategy. So we are watching companies flip the switch on XRP, and this is actually very exciting. Now, on top of that, Reese Merrick also recently put out a post, and this is, by the way, the managing director of Middle East and Africa at Ripple. After 8 weeks of intensive mentorship and technical support through a partnership with the Innovate Hub DIFC, 4 startups took center stage at the Dubai FinTech Summit, where we hosted our second XRP Ledger Accelerator Demo Day. This was the perfect setting, bringing together global fintech leaders, investors, and regulators in the heart of the UAE. The startup showcased how they're harnessing the power of the XRP Ledger to solve pressing financial challenges and revolutionize the global financial landscape. So yeah, listen, all of this it's a push on XRP. It's a push on the XRP Ledger as well. UAE adoption of the XRPL is on fire. And it's because of these accelerator programs. But there's so many of these active around XRP and the XRPL. But on top of this, we also got Hidden Road, right? Hidden Road is starting to expand. We have Ripple's Hidden Road launches OTC crypto swaps in the US, opening institutional access to cash-settled trades across major digital assets. And this was also building on top of the fact that Hidden Road Ripple Abu Dhabi, pending final regulatory approval, Hidden Road will be authorized to offer clearing and prime brokerage services across its global suite of traditional and digital asset products to institutional investors in the UAE. So everything surrounding Ripple and XRP is starting to expand, and really, I would say accelerate, right? The adoption, the moves being made, the expansions, this is all very exciting. And this is all leading me back to the idea of XRP going much higher. Because in an alt season run, the upside potential on XRP, it's unknown. We don't know where it's going to go. The fact that Bitcoin maxis are now predicting XRP to hit $8 to $10 shows you where we could potentially go, right? This is a conservative outlook, they're saying. In my opinion, when we think about XRP, when we think about all of the moves being made, and by the way, we're not even in the first half yet of the year, and we've been witnessing moves like this happening around XRP almost every single week. So if we're thinking about this logically, all right, and we think about institutional adoption as well, because institutional grade adoption is starting to pick up in a big way. The interest around institutions as well is starting to accelerate. Where do we think crypto will be in, we'll say 3 months, right? 1 quarter. Things are going to go much, much higher from here, in my opinion. And XRP is going to be a very big piece of that push to the upside. And I do think that this time around, XRP will be one of the biggest winners this cycle, and it's going to be everywhere. I mean, even right now, XRP has been everywhere for quite some time, ever since it did hit well over $3.40 this cycle. I want you all to understand that although fundamentals are not directly tied back to price action, they do determine, pressure. They determine focus. They bring in more capital. It's all a driver around attention, investments, and even adoption as well. Because, if I'm an institutional player, enterprise player, retail player, and I'm looking at XRP and I'm hearing about XRP, I'm going to do more research. I'm going to look into it, which leads me into the adoption side of XRP as well. So when we think about what's going on here, what's my price prediction, my final price prediction for 2025? My conservative outlook on XRP is $7 to $10. I think it's conservative. I agree with Cryptos RS. My extreme bullish outlook is $15 to $20. So when we think about where XRP could go this cycle, it has tremendous upside potential. And I do think that a lot of people are actually overlooking a lot of the big moves that have been happening around this space and even XRP over the last couple of weeks, simply because they're only looking at one thing, and that's the price chart. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.